What's up, friendos, and welcome into Fantasy Pros. This is the Fantasy Baseball Podcast here on Fantasy Pros. It's leading off. I'm Chris Welsh. That is Joe Orrico. We're ready to launch you in to another great week. Crunch time, baby. Actually, I believe our finals in Fantasy Pros we have this crazy long playoff run just ended. Some people are rocking playoffs now. Some people are getting there. And we are going to be your guiding light through the rest of the MLB season and into your fantasy playoffs. Mr. Joe Orrico, you and Bubba holding it down on the weekend. I always feel a little bit displaced when I'm like 5 days off of the show, but it's good to see your face, my friend.
Thank you, my friend. It's good to see you too. It's fun getting to catch with Bubba. You know, we used to do a lot more shows together than we have over the last year or so. So it's really nice getting to catch up with him. And the two of you are going to get to do a show together in a couple of weeks, which is good. But yeah, this is crunch time. I spent like 3 or 4 hours yesterday just going through all of my roto teams. Okay, I need some stolen bases here. I need some saves, blah, blah, blah. And just doing an evaluation, an honest look in the mirror and saying, okay, this team is toast. This team has a chance, and just going through team by team. This is the crunch time, my friend.
Yeah, we've got tough decisions, big tough decisions, crazy cuts, all of that stuff. That's what we've got in store for you for the rest of this show. Want to remind you guys, I know you guys are watching live on Twitch, which we love, but if you guys want to win some free stuff, we are still giving things away all season long. You go over to the YouTube, you make sure you're subscribed and put a comment down. This month, you can win a Billy Wagner autographed jersey. That's right. That signed, beautiful jersey, courtesy of our friends over at Pristine Auction. Subscribe to the MLB, Fantasy Pros MLB YouTube channel. Comment. You can comment on this video, which if you're listening to it, that would be your easy thing to do. Or just any of the videos this month. And bing, bang, boom, you could be taking home this bad boy at the end of the month. Billy Wagner signed jersey we want to give to you. Last I left you guys, the Brewers were never going to lose. We were so close to having that again, except last night, making a comeback and then blowing it again. Brewers did drop their 14-game winning streak after Austin Hayes had a bases-loaded hit in the 10th. Brewers were pretty incredible. Jose Quintana, again, keeps rolling. 1 run, 6 1/3. No decision, obviously. William Contreras hit that theoretical go-ahead homer in the 9th, which would have put them up. And Andrew Abbott was really good as well. You know what I'm curious about? There's so much to just kind of delve into. We're not going to dive into the baseball radio. Let's talk about the Brewers. You know, it's like a fantasy side, but a guy like Jose Quintana, he's the prime example of the tough decisions you have to make for players like him because he's been holding it down, especially over his last 2 starts. He's the type of guy I think you got to roll with through the rest of the season and maybe not even let be like a streamer, Joe.
Yeah, I think he's the perfect example of a guy who is very different based on what format you're playing in. I play in a lot of deeper leagues. A lot of my leagues are 15-teamers. He's an absolute must-roster player there. I think if you are in the shallower leagues, this is a guy who I'm not sure how much faith I would want to put in down the stretch. If it's a 10 or a 12-team league, he has been successful throughout the year, but he's also got a 459 FIP. He has a 130 WHIP. 16% strikeout rate. So I feel like you need to be kind of careful with picking your spots with him. Later this week, San Francisco, one of the worst teams against left-handed pitchers. That's golden. After that, it's Arizona, it's Philadelphia, and then it's going to be Pittsburgh, and then it looks like St. Louis. So I feel like you're comfortable starting him most of the time, but if there is a really tough matchup, I wouldn't be opposed to sitting him for Philly, maybe Arizona. Like I don't mind picking my spots with Jose Quintana right now.
Yeah, I mean the Diamondbacks Phillies run in there is kind of dicey. That's a decent end to the season, but I don't know. I just noticed him because obviously all the little ancillary pieces are picking it up. The Brewer streak, just as a general aside, like 14 games was absolutely impressive. They're just a powerhouse. They're doing it. They just got Mizorowski back, but they're, no Churio. They've been doing it with like the ragtag group, and they've been hot as can be. And I think, Quintana plays a pretty dang good role in that one. Yeah. Bad news. So a little good on that front. Bad news. Zack Wheeler placed on the IL with an upper extremity blood clot. Not good. He's going to be heading back to Philly for further testing, but currently without a timetable to return. I think a lot of people are already speculating that this one's going to be for the season. The current rotate, and then by the way, selfishly in my strikeout market, I'm like, okay, there's one person down, but I also on the betting pro side had a lot of those Zack Wheeler Cy Young shares. So you can lock it up for Paul Skeens. What that just did was destroyed the Cy Young market. So it is Tariq Skubal and Paul Skeens, and it is over on August 18th. And I'm pretty comfortable with saying that. Now, I know you're going to do. You're going to do the Skubal a little bit, and maybe Garrett Crochet pops back up, right?
Yeah. I think that's a conversation. Yeah.
All right. I think that's but I mean, I think for all intents and purposes, it's done. The NL's done. Paul Skeens. So yeah, that's officially over. I looked at the depth chart. So they just got Aaron Nola back. They probably wish they didn't. They got him though, and they've got Taijuan Walker in the rotation. Do you think there's any pickup or desire for Taijuan Walker? Because the thing I wanted to point out, Andrew Painter on Saturday, 3 runs, 2 earned, 5 innings, AAA start, and it lines up. I think, because I think the stuff with Wheeler was this weekend. I think it was Saturday. So perfectly lines up that he could be the guy that could get a start here soon. I think what you got to do is pay attention. But what would you rather, speculate on Painter or pick up or stream a guy like Taijuan Walker, or I guess just avoid Walker in general?
Walker is a guy, by and large, that I don't really like to target. I don't trust him as far as I could throw him. But that being said, he's made 7 starts in the rotation since they put him back in there. It's been a 2.89 ERA. He's won only 1 game out of those 7 starts, believe it or not, but he's been pitching really well. He's only walked 4% of batters. You're not getting any strikeouts with him, and I don't really trust him below the surface, but the Phillies are going to keep him in the rotation, I think. In terms of like speculating on Andrew Painter, I don't think that they are going to bring him up right now. That's my gut feeling. They're going to roll with the 5 guys that they currently have. And I don't think that there's really a role for Painter down the stretch, unless they're going to go to a 6-man, or unless there is like Nola has to go back on the IL or something like that. I don't see them stretching it to 6 for Painter. Do you?
No, I don't think they're going to stretch it to 6, but I think there's scenarios where like Nola is not right. They might not. I mean, again, you could look and they could say like Walker might be more valuable to them in a like longer relief role. Not saying they're going to do it. They've got a day off on Thursday. So I believe the Walker start is set for Friday. They could still pivot off of this if they want, because it like perfectly lines up with Andrew Painter. So I don't know which side they're going to go to. I think it's just all speculation. Game Over has a really good point. I would say like Nolan McLean, who we talked about before he got called up, and I feel very good about, like, there are better streaming options, but in those deeper leagues, like Taijuan Walker might be in a streamy range. If you're looking to hold, McLean is, a better option. There's probably a couple other better guys, but I would just watch out. I think if anything, this activates the potential for Andrew Painter to get a little bit of run at the end of the year, because how they worked him this whole season, this was the point. This is the point that they needed to do there. Just Walker's been good. They had been getting by. Luzardo has been good this season. Obviously, Chris Sanchez looks like a Cy Young potential winner. So, they probably have a better rotation than they thought they did. So they're in a little bit less need for him. But I do think we could be seeing him in the pretty near future. Cal Raleigh, 47 homers in the Little League Classic, but the Mariners were not able to pick up the win. Cal Raleigh continues to roll. I have not looked. Because I know we did a lot. Maybe you could pull this up real quick. Pull up Cal Raleigh. What has the last week or so done? Because he had this atrocious July 1st hitting like $177. I know it's picked up a little bit. Where have we gotten to, at least even post break, on Cal Raleigh? What do the numbers look like?
So, I mean, just quickly, over the last week, it's 5 home runs with a 303 batting average.
303.
What's up? What's we got here? 818 slugging, and it's 230 WRC plus. Now, in the second half as a whole, 30% strikeout rate, 788 OPS, 123 WRC plus, and it is 9 home runs in 28 games, which is still ridiculous.
What's the batting average over that time?
227.
Okay, so yeah, well, I mean, he's gotten it. It's definitely boost back up the 300 average over a short period of time. Just super important for the Mariners if they're going to kind of continue rolling. I think that's the big boy. That's the big dog. Nick Kurtz, speaking of big homers, 25th home run this season, had a pair of walks. Nick Kurtz, unbelievable. There was like a week or two ago, people like, Jacob Wilson could be coming back soon and he could be making a thing. He's not going to make it a thing. With a 51% hard hit rate, 18% barrel, 300 average. Ladies and gentlemen, your rookie of the year, which we watched in the Arizona Fall League last year, coming into the second half. This is another one of those like market done dynasty values, through the freaking roof, redraft value through the roof. We talked dynasty values before. Next season, just real quick, is Kurtz number 2 a first baseman? Or is he going to be 3? Because I think it's Vlad, Alonso, or him. I think he's already far surpassed next season in valuations of Matt Olson. That's done. And there's somebody I'm forgetting that's also got kicked out of that market. I think it's
Freddie.
Vlad.
Freddie.
Oh, Freddie. Yeah, Freddie. Well, Freddie could still be in that market. Like, where do you think Kurtz is going to line for redraft first baseman next year?
So I don't think he's going to go ahead of Vladdy. I don't think you should go ahead of Vladdy. I don't think you should go ahead of Alonso, although I think that's kind of close. And then I think Josh Naylor is in that conversation. Honestly, it's 3 straight great seasons from him. I think he's got to be in the mix at least. He's a free agent, so where he signs will dictate that a little bit. Kurtz is pretty solidified into the top 5, I think. It's Guerrero, Alonso, Naylor, Kurtz, and Freeman. In whatever order you want to put it, I think those are the top 5. Kurtz, for me, is probably 3rd or 4th, I think. You could justify putting him behind Vladdy and Alonso, and I wouldn't fight you there.
This is sneaky. The big dance, Devers. Devers is going to be, because like we're all just so happy that he was playing some first because he was going to positionally be kicked out. Harper. I wasn't even thinking. I think Harper was the thing I was thinking about in there, and Devers is going to qualify. Dude, first base is going to be just lit next year. Those big names, Devers in there, Kurtz is in there. I mean, you're going to have I'm not sure if Naylor belongs in there, to be honest with you.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
I think there's like a top 6 or 7, but the position is going to go 10 deep. It's going to be very good next year.
What I would argue with Naylor is like 2023, he hit 300, 100 RBI. Last year, 30 homer, 100 RBI. This year, it's going to be like a 20, 25 season, hitting close to 300. He's been so consistent on 3 different teams now. He feels like a really safe option. And honestly, he might not go in that top group, but he feels like a really good, like, okay, I missed out on the Freemans and Alonsos. I'm just going to take Josh Naylor.
Literally what I was just about to say, that like, if you don't get in the market, there is something to be said. We're talking next year strategy of like, you kind of want to be involved in those guys, because if you're going to let everybody else, pick up those first basemen, you take a step down, but he might be the guy that you get when you miss all those. You just got to make sure that while everybody else is drafting those, first baseman, you're getting outfielders, or you're picking up some of the elite starting pitchers. And then you just get, 95% of the value that's going to throw out there and this is another one too, just in the more of the keeper market, but Murakami is going to be coming over next season. He might actually go to Seattle, or the Yankees, but we'll have conversations about that. Third base, first base is probably going to be as elite as it's been in like a long time. And it is thanks to Nick Kurtz, who has not slowed down this entire season and is wrapping that up. Who won't be in the discussion though is Nate Lowe. Nate Lowe will be a first baseman for an AL team. Looks like he is, according to Jeff Passan, finalizing that deal with the Boston Red Sox. He's going to be playing some first, and they've been doing a lot of different things. We're going to talk about it in a little prospect segment here of what they've been doing, but Lowe is potentially going to be a savior. And I had somebody over the weekend ask, like, why would Lowe get DFA'd? And it was like, they're doing it for him. Like they're not doing that for the benefit, I think, of them. It's just like letting him go find another spot. The Nationals stink. So I like Lowe in Boston. I think that's it's a low end no pun intended, like fantasy option for a corner infielder if you're kind of struggling at the position.
Oh yeah. Like he's still a solid hitter. He's had a bit of a down season, but he makes good contact. He doesn't chase, doesn't really strike out a ton. 26%. It's a little bit higher than usual, but he's usually like a 22, 23% strikeout rate guy. 16 home runs and 70 ribbies to this point. Like he's had not a bad season, and the Red Sox desperately need first base. And Bubba and I called this destination and all on Friday's show. So feeling pretty good about that one.
Nice. Good call. Let's go to our people. Let's see what we got going on, answering some questions in the show here. Thoughts on Nolan McLean's performance and sustainability. Boy, telling you guys about those spin numbers. I was talking the sweeper, but manipulates it as a nice curve. Like he looked sick in that last outing. So, you guys know I'm kind of I'm a big push for him. They said he's going to be in the rotation the rest of the year. I think he is not a guy I'm looking to cut like in the stream market. I'm trying to hold on to because I think he's a really, really difficult at bat when it was like 3,300 RPM curveballs and stuff like that. But what's your thought on it? What do you think as far as like, do you think he's going to be able to maintain through the rest of the year? Is he someone you want more than just a streamer? What do you think about Nolan McLean?
Yeah, I think he's above streaming range, but I'm not sure he's like you have to empty out the rest of your fab coffers on him, top waiver priority. Like, I think he's going to be good, but there are also, there's always some ups and downs with your first few career starts. We know this. He's a guy who does have some shaky command. He's walked 50 guys in 113 innings in the minors this year. He walked 4 in his 5 1/3 innings the other day. So I think he is going to be good, but you also have to look at the fact that the Mets as a team have been not very good for a little while now. So there is a possibility that maybe the wins aren't as good as people are expecting. I think that he is well worth an ad in, say, 12-team leagues and deeper, but I'm also not, spending every penny I have on him. I like him, but sure, I'm not going crazy.
Game Over, who said, by the way, that his playoff starts today. So we're getting some playoffs going today. Isaac Collins, Lawrence Butler, or Jackson Merrill for the week?
Collins is right off of the paternity leave, so he's got that extra dad power. Lawrence Butler had a couple home runs last week and did look not too bad. And then Merrill is going to be facing San Francisco and a couple of lefties to start the week, and then Los Angeles. So I think it's going to be Collins for me. I think it's going to be Collins.
Okay. What did you say the Butler matchup was? Because I think
Butler is at Minnesota, Joe Ryan, Bailey Ober, Urania, and then Seattle, Wu, Kirby, Gilbert, and then, oh my God, and then Skubal on Monday. So this guy, just a gauntlet of pitchers right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm actually leaning a little bit Merrill there, but I can go with Collins for sure. This is a tough one. Solar said, cut Kyle Stowers in a keeper league. Could keep him in the 10th, but also could cut Schwellenbach in the 6th. The reason they're saying this is because, as we'll mention later, Stowers going on the IL. So, I mean, I don't think I could cut Stowers, especially in the 10th. That's an incredible value. What's the point? Like, is it taking up bench spots? I don't want to cut either one of them, to be honest.
If we can get a little more context, how many keepers, how many teams in the league, that kind of thing, it might help a little bit to answering that one.
Yeah. Who to pick up this week? Cavalli versus Philly, Gomez versus Atlanta, Sheehan versus Colorado, or Jason Alexander versus Baltimore. These are good. I would have said Cavalli, except I don't love the Philly matchup. I would probably go Sheehan in this grouping, but what say you?
I would go Sheehan for this week, but if you can also grab Cavalli, I would be doing it. I liked what we've seen from him a lot, and the Philly start does scare me a little bit, but he did just throw 7 shutout against them the other day. You never know what's going to happen the second time around. It could be great. It could be terrible. But overall, the stuff has been good. He was a relatively highly ranked prospect. It's hard to remember how high he was in prospect lists, but he was a relatively highly ranked prospect. He looked pretty good. So I think he's the option rest of the season, but Sheehan for this week.
We got some context, by the way. That league was a 5-keeper. It's a 10-team 5-keeper. So
yeah, I get it.
I don't know, man. Like, I guess the other context is like, what, like, are you dying for positional stuff? Are both of those guys taking up spots? I gotta be honest with you, it might be Schwellenbach right now. I just like 10th round, Kyle Stowers. Like, Stowers looks like a 30-10 guy, locked down.
Yeah.
Who are the others? I want to get rid of that.
Who are the other keeper options, Solar? That last thing I'll ask you, if there's like
4 outfielder league too.
It really depends. If you have Lindor and you have Vladdy and blah blah blah, then it makes the decisions a little bit easier. But any extra context would help there.
Yeah, we'll try to do it in the chat. We're not going to do it back on the show, but we'll try to jump it into the chat. In the I don't know, news rumory. This isn't really rumors, but I put it in here in the 2 pieces of interesting news department before we look at some prospects. I don't know if this is all national for anybody. It's my timeline's demolished by it. I don't know the level of national news this is, but Ketel Marte, it's a mess. I just want to get your take real quick. Here is the quick little rundown. There was a report like a month or so ago of a local guy, this guy Dan Bickley out here, was trashing Ketel Marte, and everyone's like, "What the hell, dude? What's your problem?" And then it comes out. And bigger right, Nick Picoro wrote about this, that essentially Ketel Marte after the All-Star game told nobody, flew out to the Dominican Republic, did not go back with Carroll, did not go back with the crew, went to the Dominican Republic without telling anybody for a little vacay after the All-Star game. Then his house got broken into, came back. The point of that was he missed some critical games between the Diamondbacks being sellers and still competing. And Torey Lovello admitted in an interview that he did not know about this stuff. So then a report comes out that there are players in the locker room that are essentially sick of Ketel Marte, that they're sick of his stuff. He's kind of a baby. He's not there for the team. He gets special treatment. Lovello even kind of confirmed that. And then the last report comes out that the Diamondbacks, according to Bob Nightingale, are looking at potentially trading him in the offseason. This then led to Geraldo Perdomo doing like this impromptu interview defending Ketel Marte and telling the media to stop. It's really nasty out here. And by the way, he didn't play last night. He did pinch hit 0 for 2 or whatever, but he didn't start the game. So it's really nasty with Ketel. I think the emotional guy that he is, this is going to weigh on him the rest of the season. A, is this national news at all? Are you seeing any of this? And B, do you think Ketel Marte is going to be moved this offseason?
I mean, I don't follow the D-backs that closely, but from what I understand, this is essentially a hit piece that was put out against Marte that was unfair to him, that is mischaracterizing his actions. And again, I'm not as connected with the D-back stuff, but he went home because his home was robbed.
No, that's inaccurate. He went his home in Arizona was robbed. He went to the Dominican Republic without telling anybody, and he found out his home was robbed while in the Dominican Republic.
Okay, that's a little bit different.
Yeah, that's why this is messy. And the characterization, by the way, is from players. There's player quotes that are out there. Something I've heard is maybe one of those players no longer plays with the Diamondbacks that might have been quoted, potentially plays in the Pacific Northwest, that type of stuff. But, there are some players out there. Some are defending and some don't like some of the antics. So I guess if anything, I'm just telling everybody if it's not big news.
Yeah, I don't think it's huge news. I mean, maybe they do trade him. Like the way that this came onto my timeline was I follow some Diamondbacks people and they were like, this is ridiculous. How could they say this kind of stuff about Ketel? Perdomo went and defended him. I don't think this is that big of a deal, really. But if they do trade him, that would be like, he's arguably the best second baseman in baseball. So it would obviously be a big deal if he was traded, but just looking at this on the surface, I don't think this is a Rafael Devers type of situation or anything close to it, at least not yet. But what do you think? You're right there.
I think we might get there. I think it's nasty. It's really nasty out here because it's all the local reporters are now on it. The team is against them. Lavello is defending, but also being like, yep, didn't know about this. I think there's going to be some heads on the chopping block in the offseason. It might start with Torrey and it might be Ketel Marte. And the point I bring up is just pay attention because Ketel is such an emotional guy. I wonder if this is going to affect him. I wonder if you're going to see either him pick it up or a slowdown. I feel like there's not going to be a middle ground. So just be on the lookout for that weird news. The other piece is if you were expecting Victor Robles back anytime soon, you might want to second guess that because yesterday, if you did not see this news circulating, in his rehab start at AAA, now, to be fair, he has been getting hit a lot. I guess he says this is the 5th. I thought it was the 3rd. But Victor Robles was hit by a pitch, then proceeds to sulk for a second, and then threw his bat at the pitcher, yelled, obviously got ejected, goes in the dugout, and then takes tubs and throws it on the field. Absolute cry fest. And just pulled a Delman Young, which you can't do, threw a bat. Then he goes on and he's just like, no, he's me on Instagram with their little notes post. He's like, I'm just so sad and I'm sorry. And it's just like, dude, you threw a bat like that. There's a line and it starts with your bat leaving your hand at another player. I don't know. Maybe baseball will be light on it because he got hit a whole bunch. I would expect this is something we're not going to see Victor Robles. But I mean, they were not light on Delman Young, if I remember that correctly, where he flipped a bat and it hit an umpire. So any thoughts on this? I don't think we're going to see Victor Robles the rest of this season, but I could be wrong.
No, I don't think we are either. Once this happened yesterday, I went back and started watching some old clips. Brett Laurie, former Blue Jay, took his helmet off after a strikeout and whipped it at the ground and it bounced off the umpire. David Ortiz destroying jugs of Gatorade in the dugout. These things happen. I think, maybe it's a 5-6 game suspension off the top of my head. Just looking at the numbers, he's been hit 3 times in 5 games, which, okay, that's not going to feel great. But, with all due respect, who does Victor Robles think he is? That they're going to be like, we got to plunk Victor Robles in this AAA game. Like, no, there's no targeting. At least I don't think.
Yeah, his frustrations. He got frustrated. He said after, he's like, I've been hit a bunch of times. I totally get it. It's just like, if there's one, drop the bat, charge the mound. Go do that, and I think you're fine. But he took the bat, and he just he flung it. He was in center field trying to throw at a guy at home. Like, he flung the bat, and luckily, there was no big crazy damage. But it's a nasty situation. Again, I might be making too much about it, but he's going to be in a little bit of hot water. Little tiny bit of hot water. let's do some prospecting, a little bit of a different look. Prospecting with the Welsh this season has always been about the future guys that are going to help you, that you need to be looking on the waiver wire. Well, guess what? The future's now. The future is here. So this is more of a rookie / prospect update for you with some other pieces, kind of some prospecting news to get you, take you home with. Number one, Jacob Marcy. Jacob Marcy, 2 for 2. He did not start the game on Sunday, but he came in, 2-run homer, now hitting 377, 468, 774 slash, 15 RBIs. No doubt must own. Are you game now? Because I think last week, I've had multiple people, little different processes about Jacob Marcy. I said pretty much from day one, this is the type of guy you pick up and you dump guys like Jerk. Remember the Jerks and Profar? You pick Profar over him. I get it. But like, dump those type of guys for a guy like Marcy if it works out. It has been working out. So are you a rest of season buy on Marcy with this run? Probably not available anywhere right now, but this is more about the people that are holding on to him. Should they give him a longer leash moving forward?
Yeah, I've never been a Profar guy. I was pretty anti-Profar, but he has been very good, to his credit, over the last few weeks. But what Jacob Marcy is doing, it's not even just on the surface of the fantasy stats have been good. The data is unbelievable. Like, I spent half the day going through Fangraphs pages and looking at plate discipline metrics, which sounds a little bit sad to say out loud. But at the same time, Jacob Marcy has a 7.8% O swing, which is a chase rate, essentially. 95% zone contact, 3% swinging strike rate. Like, he is doing everything so well. On a 34% swing rate. It's so beautiful to look at. 14% barrel rate, 55% hard hit rate, expected slugging of 700. Like, it's not going to be this good forever, but 6 more weeks of this from Jacob Marcy. Welcome to the top 100, my friend. That's where we're going.
Yeah, and that's the point. This is a prospect that is going to help and push you for a huge playoff run. What do you think about the big dances here? Collins over Marcy? Which side would you go on here?
Man, I feel like I'd have to go with Collins just because the Brewers are such a wagon right now. Like, over the last month, they have a 145 WRC plus as a team. They are just so phenomenal. Collins being a huge part of that. They both should be rostered, but given the option, I think I'd have to go Collins.
They both should be rostered. I'm going to go with Marcy right now. I hate the idea. In a 10 team, you might have to make these tough decisions, but like, if you want to play the split market, not only is, well, this isn't the split, but high barrel percentage, 54% hard hit rate. He's not striking out. He's walking almost 15% of the time. He's getting the ball in there. He's hitting the ball hard on average, but he's also hitting 300 against righties and lefties. So it's like, he's not in a platoon situation. By the way, he's hit 2 of his 4 homers against lefties. So I'm a Jacob Marcy stan right now. He is a big playoff push for you. We finally got Samuel Basallo, incredible, finally called up for this final run, as you know, and I mentioned in the previous prospecting segment, August 16th essentially was your open date where a player cannot be on the roster and lose prospect eligibility. So this is why we might see some of these guys. And Basallo was one of those players that we talked about in his debut, or at least on Sunday. I don't know if this actually was his debut now I'm thinking about it. 1 for 4, 2 RBIs against the Astros. He was DHing, and I expect him to primarily DH the rest of the way through. Ownership. I know you tweeted about this. You found it. You were really relaying him to other catchers and saying you'd have to cut these other catchers. But let me get you to phrase it a different way. Do you think as a DH, he can be valuable? So someone that you could put in as a util guy or catcher, do you think there's like util value in him in, let's say, a 12-team league rest of season?
There's always the potential for it. But when I look at the way the Orioles have treated prospects, whether it's been top prospects, mid-range prospects, the Mayos, the Kierstads, whoever it is, there's usually some nonsense, whether it's he's going to sit 3 days and then play 1, and then he'll play a couple, and then he's going to get sent back down. I just don't know what to expect from that point of view. That's the first thing. And then it's a rookie catcher. So you don't really know what to expect performance-wise either. The numbers in the minor leagues are fantastic. 23 homers, 150 WRC plus. But at the same time, we're looking at a catcher on a mediocre offense. If you're talking about 12-team players, if they should be using a utility spot on him, my argument would be that there's probably so many nice things on the wire. People are asking like Collins or Marcy, which implies that one of them is available. So when I'm seeing those kind of situations out there, it's hard for me to say that Basallo should be rostered. When I'm picking up catchers, for me, I don't like to keep them on the bench. I'm starting them or they're not in my team. So that's kind of where I'm at in one catcher. 2 catcher leagues, different story. But if you're just starting one catcher in a 12-team league, it'd be a little bit tough for me to pick him up.
And honestly, his teammate Dylan Beavers is probably a little bit more valuable playing the outfield right now. Got to hit over the weekend. Like that would be someone I would be a little bit more excited about. And that's kind of a theme on some of these. There are some non-exciting prospects that have, made themselves valuable, like Drew Gilbert. Drew Gilbert was not an exciting guy for really anybody, but from Robert Hassel passing it down to Jacob Morrissey, passing it down to a guy like Drew Gilbert. Drew Gilbert's finding some value. 2 for 4, hit his first major league homer this weekend. He's getting run, looks like kind of through the rest of the season. There is minimal value. I mean, he's not in the Marshy camp. If you had to go, okay, rank him: Dylan Beavers, Basayo, Drew Gilbert, of who you want to own right now.
Beavers, Basayo, Gilbert. Probably that order, honestly.
Okay.
Gilbert, he just doesn't impress me that much. Like with that home run, he's got his WRC plus up to 7. He's hitting 136, and that's probably being a little unfair because it's only 8 games. But I feel like his prospect capital had kind of declined over the last couple of seasons. If you look at what he did in 2024 in the minors, he had a 79 WRC plus. This year, it's been 104, a little bit better. But I don't look at Drew Gilbert and see a future major league regular. Do you?
No, I mean, and like overall production has not been good. I mean, he's hitting like a $136. He's just coming off of that big one. He's shown good, like maxi type of numbers. It's like around 108 max EV. He's getting the ball in the air, but he has not found a stride. I mean, it's like striking out a lot, like, hard hit numbers stink. He's not barreling the ball. He's still finding himself. I actually think he could float around and be a major league guy for quite some time, but I'm not sure it's going to be anything good. So that's one, don't kind of fall into the trap of any of the production from him in kind of a short run or anything like that. A couple prospects just want to throw out here. I mentioned this, the password. I always screw up his name, Johansen Garcia. I'm not going to just the password. Been working at first base in AAA. So that's a very important thing, as mentioned earlier, that you have the Red Sox signing Nate Lowe to play first. If he doesn't work out quick, it might be something to be on the lookout for, that the password getting his first games at first. If you get 2 more weeks, they legitimately might bring him up to the majors. He has been red hot all season long. So look out for him. 2 big prospect names were called up from high A to double A. It doesn't have a lot of fantasy value, but I just want you guys to know, especially when you're talking in like the bigger market for guys that are going to produce next season. Number 1 prospect, and at least in my ranks and a couple others, Connor Griffin called up to double A by the Pirates, and Leo DeVries, the Athletic, not the Padre, was called up to double A. So those were 2 really, really big promotions that were put out there. Now there's one final thing we're going to talk about in this prospect update. It's the thing that immediately started. Oh yeah. Yostinson. Thank you, PD. Yostinson Garcia. It's the number 1 thing that pops up. I got hit up about it this weekend. I get hit up about it all the time. What in the world do we do with Bubba Chandler? Bubba Chandler, this weekend in his last start, 4 runs, 3 1/3 of an inning on Saturday. There's an open spot. I think everyone was saying it was Wednesday. He's not going to pitch on a Wednesday, and they're not talking about it. But here's the thing that keeps popping up. Hey, I've got Bubba Chandler. Could he come up soon, or should I move on? Here's been my answer, Joe. Doesn't matter if he comes up soon or not anymore. I'm out. Like, yes, I do think if you've held on, he could be called up in the next week or 2. But I don't think I care. I don't think I care what that start looks like. I'd probably be more excited at this point if Mick Abel got called up by the Twins after that. So, yeah, he is 100%. He's this figment of our imagination. Doesn't really exist. So, yes, he could get called up. Do we know when that will happen? No, we don't. But I've come to the determination that I just don't care. He has been inconsistent. I think a lot of this is at the fault of the Pirates, but he has not rattled off multiple starts together. And if he gets called up, I actually think it could just be a messy situation as well. The walks are an issue. He's not going deep into games. Innings look bad. So in all instances, I am moving on from him unless it's some type of deep keeper. And that's my final thoughts on Bubba Chandler. Anything you want to add?
So I picked him up the other day in my home league, and the reason is it's a Yahoo league, and you have a minor league spot. It's a NA slot minor league spot, and the guy who'd been holding him for 4 months dropped him. And I had a free spot. I was like, okay, you know what? I had a couple pickups left for the week. and I have Bubba Chandler now. That being said, am I expecting a hell of a lot from him? Probably not. But I do think that this rests almost solely on the Pirates. Like the Griffin call-up is kind of surprising. I didn't know they knew how to promote prospects. It's good to know that they know how to put those paperwork through to the league, but I don't know what the hell they're doing at this point. Bubba Chandler has made like 100 starts in the minor leagues, and I don't know if there's anything that's going to make this make sense to me. Oh, it's August 15th. He's going to get called up. Well, that was a couple days ago now. We were saying that the whole season that we're waiting around for Bubba. When he gets that first start, there is going to be a mad dash to the waiver wire to pick him up. I can tell you that right
And
now.
I would avoid it. And I would avoid it at this point with what I've seen this year. Not interested. Yeah. I would rather Andrew. You said you got that spot. Give me Andrew Painter to speculate over Bubba Chandler. That's where I would be with it. I would have said if it was early in the season, like a Jonah Tong or something, but unfortunately, no Bubba Chandler for me. So there's only one Bubba we care about, and that is Casey Bubba. That's right. All right, there's some prospecting updates for you for the week. Little 3 up and 3 down. Ding Kremer on the up. 7 innings of shutout ball, striking out 7 in a win against the Astros. Joe Adell, homer, 3 runs, 4 RBIs, 3 for 4, continues that breakout on the season. And Jordan Westburg, 4 for 5, homer, 2 runs, and 5 RBI on the down. Junior Caminero, so close to a Cinco Stinko, but a golden sombrero will do. 0 for 4. 3 of those strikeouts came against Logan Webb, who was really good. Jose Berrios allowed 10 hits, 6 earned runs, and a loss to the Rangers. And George Kirby, 12 hits, 7 earned runs, 3 walks against the Mets. Just got blasted on. You hate to see that, especially Mariner fans, but also the Kirby crew here. On the injuries, Josh Hader said that it is unlikely he will return to the mound again during the regular season, but could join the Astros in the postseason. So there's a big plus. I haven't paid attention. Who has been the save lock? Has it been Abreu or has it been Souza? Because I was talking a lot about Bennett, but I know Abreu is more the closer stuff.
Yeah, they went on Saturday. Souza blew a save, and Brian King got a hold, and the win went to Enyel De Los Santos. Where I had Hader yesterday in my weekly fab leagues, I dropped Hader for Brian Abreu across the board for what it's worth.
Okay, I think that's the right play. Also on the Astros, Yordan Alvarez reportedly could return within the next week and will begin a rehab assignment tomorrow. Hold your breath. Everybody chill out. If we see him on the field tomorrow, we'll get more excited, but that could mean he could be coming back next week. So, I mean, shocking bit of news. Also, Game has asked this 3 times. I thought I mentioned it, but Jacob Wilson also is close to returning. I don't know if we had this on the sheet, but Jacob Wilson is, I think, playing in games and looks like he could be back later this week. So 2 guys, very important that we've lost for a bit of time. And, fingers crossed, Alvarez is just going to be a boost for anybody that's in a playoff run that still has him, of course. So good stuff there. Kyle Stowers, as mentioned, is going to miss several weeks with a grade 1 left side strain. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. I mean, you get the Zack Wheelers of the world, and then you're losing a guy like Kyle Stowers, who has held up your teams, I think, so much. So this is a brutal one, getting to the point where people want to cut him. I hate seeing this. Christian Javier had to leave Sunday's start due to reported illness. Velocity was also down, so something to be on the lookout for. Jackson Merrill considered day-to-day with an ankle injury that was originally sustained on Friday night and caused him to leave Sunday's game. So that would be another reason, that question we had earlier about, do you want Merrill? Maybe not. Cardinals out a couple dudes. Lars Nootbaar removed from Sunday's game due to muscle cramping, and Victor Scott placed on the 10-day IL with a left ankle sprain. They brought up Nathan Church. I'm not excited to, jump on the Nathan Church band. Josh Lau missed both games over the weekend due to an oblique tightness. Jake Berger had to leave Sunday's game to left wrist discomfort. Wilyer Abreu left Sunday due to calf tightness after also getting that weird homer that he hit. And then who the hell was it that
Dane Myers?
Yeah, Dane Myers. Dane Myers caught it and then bounced and then fell off, and Wilyer Abreu got the homer. And then the Red Sox officially announcing Marcelo Mayer undergoing season-ending wrist surgery. So lots of injury stuff as we're walking into this week. This is the time of the year, and that's why you got to make super big, tough decisions. All right, let's do some best bets. Let's look at what we're betting for the week. Mr. Joe Rico, why don't you kick us off with your best bets for today?
Now, I realize people see Blue Jays money line and think this guy is such a bloody homer, and I get it. But the Blue Jays at plus money against the Pirates today. I know Paul Skeens is pitching, but he's going up against Kevin Gausman, who is no slouch himself. And Kevin Gausman has actually been very good. He's pushing for a sub-1 whip at this point. and Paul Skeens does not exactly get a ton of run support as we've come to see over this year. So Blue Jays money line plus 100, I will take that every day. Kyle Freeland over 3.5 strikeouts. This one probably looks very weird as well. Going up against the Dodgers of all teams, what am I thinking? But the Dodgers have not really been the Dodgers lately offensively. They haven't been bad, but the big thing that stands out is that over the last month, the Dodgers have the third highest strikeout rate in baseball at 25%. So 3.5 is not a high number, but I think that this is something that we can definitely see Kyle Freeland get over, even though he's not a guy who tends to light up the strikeout numbers. And then the Seattle first 5 money line, Logan Gilbert versus Ranger Suarez. Ranger Suarez has been struggling kind of a lot recently, and some people are even dropping him in shallower leagues. Little bit juice, minus 120, but Logan Gilbert versus Ranger Suarez feels like a pretty good bet to make.
All right, I'm down. I went over and took a look over on Betting Pros because, as mentioned before, obviously the Betting Pros app you guys should pick up. But on the Betting Pros side, we've got a couple new markets available. We've got what is it? Hit, run, RBI. We've got player outs, which you should go check out, and kind of new modeling on all of the props. So one of these is going to play to those. First up, this one kind of sparked me. This was at the top of the EV ratings on Betting Pros prop cheat sheet for strikeouts today, and it was Jack Leiter at 3.5 over, which I really like that one. I think it was 60%. It hit in like 3 of the last 5. It's a low strikeout number. I was very tempted to go all like anti-Joe bets to just take like Michael Harris and Jack Leiter, whatever I could against him. But low strikeout total for Jack Leiter today at 3.5 over. So I like that play. This was the play that really stood out to me. If you go and check out on the prop cheat sheet, look at the hit run RBI number here. Kerry Carpenter, 1.5 hit run RBI over, hit in 5 straight games. So of the last 5, this has been an absolute rock win in. You can check out all the different books. There's quite a few different. You can actually get plus money over on Fanatics book, minus 120 on DK, where I tend to bet a lot. So Kerry Carpenter has hit this in 5 straight games, going up against Arrighetti, who's got like a 6+ ERA. So this is a great bet. And then I put together a little first 5 money line parlay, Atlanta and the Dodgers. So this is backing Strider. This is backing Yamamoto. They're pretty juiced up for money lines through their normal first 5. So you pair these two together and you get plus money. Friends, those are my bets. Go and download the Betting Pros app if you guys want to bet smarter and not harder. Plus, you can get 7 days free by using promo code leading off, and that'll give you access to all the tools. So you can check out all the fun tools. Everything is unlocked. So go and check it out today. Prop cheat sheet more, track your bets, do it. And if you want, there you go right there. MLB props. You can see you can see even like the EV ratings, the star ratings, and you can go and do some of your own research in there. And while you're doing it, go check it over on FanDuel, where we got that code $5 will win $250 if your first bet hits. FantasyPros.com/leading off. Go and do that today. Home run board. What does it look like? 52 positive. Grouch is pulling away, friends. Whips and BZ, you guys got some work to do. 52, that is a 3 home run lead as we are just circling in at the end of the season. Whips and BZ at 48. George is at 47. Wonky has hit 40. Congratulations. Wonky is just a beast in this with 11th place. I got no idea where I'm at. I'm probably like 29 or 30 or something. More than Joe, so that's all that matters. Orrico, home run call today. Where are you going?
Yeah, I also saw some nice numbers on Kerry Carpenter, looking at a couple of different projection models I look at against Spencer Arrighetti today. So I'm taking him for the home run call. And I also cannot believe that I dropped him in my home league a month ago and kept Lawrence Butler instead of him.
Ooh, that hurts. All right. So Joe is at 32. Oh, Joe has more than me? Is that real? Oh, Joe has perpetuity. That's what's killing me. All right. So I got to pick it up there. So never mind. I don't have more than Joe. So that's a travesty that's happening. I'm going to go with Acuna. Acuna is back. They get the White Sox today. I'm going to go with a couple days of Acuna for my home run calls. And that is it, friends. That is all that we've got. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We're back again on Wednesday. It's Orrico and I. Going to definitely, because prospecting is out, we're going to answer more of your questions. So bring your fantasy-based start and sit questions or whatever to the Wednesday show. We got you covered. Make sure you're subscribed on the podcast and go comment on the YouTube to win some stuff. For Joe Orrico, I'm Chris Welsh. Shout out to Seth. We're out of here, and peace. You go now. Bye-bye.
Oh, I still cannot believe I dropped Kerry Carpenter. I can't believe it.
Kerry Bonds. Don't
Kerry
do it.
Bonds. Butler is... he had a decent week last week, but...
Huge disappointment.